my dear student, welcome to our program of Science Third Prep Stage. Today we are going to study physical quantity, the third lesson in the first term of Unit 1. Today we will differentiate between physical quantity and measuring unit. We will differentiate between distance and displacement. We will find the difference between velocity and speed. The physical quantity, it is anything can be measured and has measuring unit. Definition ده مش عندي لكن لازم ابقى عارفه. What is mean by physical quantity. نركز كده مع بعض يا جماعة. It is anything has measuring unit and can be measured. Like mass. Mass of tomato 5 kilogram. Mass of tomato 5 kilogram. Mass, it is a physical quantity and its measuring unit is kilogram. My length equal 160 meter. الطول بتاعي 160. The length is a physical quantity but meter is a measuring unit of length. Okay, let us go to my lesson or our lesson. Physical quantities. They are classified into two types. The scientists classify the physical quantity into two types. The first one is scalar quantities. Scalar quantities, it is a physical quantity or they are quantities that need magnitude only to be identified. Like example, mass of tomato, mass of carrot, mass of my sister, mass of my father. Mass equal 90 kilogram. My masses equal 90 kilogram. كتلتي 90 كيلوغرام. ما اقدرش اقول direction هنا. يعني مش هينفع اقول the mass of carrot 1 kilogram to north. The mass of tomato 5 kilogram to south. ما ينفعش. يبقى انا عندي هنا magnitude only. يبقى scalar physical quantity, they are quantities that need magnitude only to be identified. Example for scalar physical quantity, length by meter. Length is a scalar physical quantity. True. Why? ممكن يجي السؤال give reason. The length is example of a scalar physical quantity because the length to be identified need magnitude only and its measuring unit is meter. Another example, mass measuring unit equal or called kilogram. Time by second. Electric current intensity by ampere. So these are example of a scalar physical quantity. وانت ممكن تجيب اكتر من كده. اللي احنا قلنا scalar physical quantity identify by its magnitude only. Another type of quantities or physical quantity is vector physical quantity. What's mean by vector physical quantity? They are quantities that need magnitude and direction to be identified. يبقى الزيادة عندي هنا في الفيكتور فيزيكال كوانتيتي هي حتة مين؟ الدايركشن. يبقى أنا لما أجي أتكلم على what is the difference compare between scalar physical quantity and vector physical quantity give example. تمام؟ هقول لك قارن ما بينهم. ممكن أجي في الساينتفك تيرم ممكن أقول لك what's mean by vector physical quantity. تقول لي they are quantities that need magnitude and direction to be identified. For example, velocity والmeasuring unit بتاعتها زي ما شفناها في lesson 1 و lesson 2 meter per second. واحنا في المقدمة برضو قلنا ان احنا هنعمل compare between velocity and speed. يبقى انا بقول لك دلوقتي الفيلوسيتي جت معايا في الاكزامبل بتاع الفيكتور فيزيكال كوانتيتي. يبقى انت تخلي بالك او تبدا تركز ان السبيد هتبقى حاجه والفيلوسيتي هتبقى حاجه تانية. displacement الميجرنج يونت ايكوال متر او كولد متر. عندي ايه تاني؟ acceleration meter per second square، weight by Newton. وعندنا خطأ شائع بيحصل زي لبس بسيط كده between الويت and mass. الماس measuring unit equal او called كيلوجرام، but weight الميجرنج يونت بتاعتها نيوتن، لان الويت المفروض ان هو attraction force of the earth to the body. attraction force of the earth to the body. attraction force يا جماعه بيبقى ليها direction دايما نحو الارض، فبالتالي هيبقى ليها magnitude and direction. so weight is a vector physical quantity. زي ما قلنا ممكن السؤال يجي give reason weight is example of vector physical quantity because weight to be identified need what? Magnitude and its direction. What is the difference between displacement and distance? Like the difference between vector and scalar physical quantity. يبقى displacement and distance there are a difference between them like vector and scalar physical quantity. As example, displacement is a vector physical quantity but distance is a scalar physical quantity. نشوف كده مع بعض. Difference between distance and displacement. As example, an object move like bus from A to B, then from B to C. This called a distance. But if the bus move in one direction from A to B like red line, called displacement. Again, if an object move from A to B then to C زي الخط اللي هو منكسر قدامنا اللي هو البلاك لاين دوت، الباص مشي معاه يبقى ده كده distance. But if the bus move from A to B in a straight line in one direction called displacement. So the distance definition is the actual path of a moving body. طول المسار اللي انت مشيته فعلا. The actual path of moving body. But displacement, it is the shortest straight line that covered by a moving body from initial or starting point and the final or end point, like this bus. Displacement again, it is the shortest straight line of the moving body from the initial or starting point and the final or end point. But distance, it is the actual path of the moving body. يبقى أنا برضو ده كده question مهم جدا. ممكن يجي يقول لي compare between displacement and distance. هنقدر نفرق ما بينهم من خلال الديفينيشن. But if you get this question, complete the following statement. Distance is physical quantity, but displacement is physical quantity. displacement هتبقى vector by meter، الميجرنج يونت بتاعتها متر، والديستنس هتبقى سكيلر والميجرنج يونت بتاعها برضو متر. يبقى الاثنين مشتركين مع بعض في الميجرنج يونت باي متر. but distance is a scalar physical quantity and displacement is vector physical quantity. Velocity. What's mean by velocity? Or what is the difference between velocity and speed? Speed, distance, it change in distance in 1 second. But velocity, it is the rate of change of displacement. يبقى أنا هنا قدرت أوصل معاك زي ما عملنا differentiate between الديستنس والديسبليسمنت، هنعمل نفس الديفرنتيت أو الكومبير between الفيلوسيتي والسبيد. velocity it is the rate of change of displacement. لو شلنا الديسبليسمنت وحطينا distance هتبقى speed. يبقى speed it is the rate of change of distance. From this figure find what? An object move from A to B covered 30 meter and from B to C covered 60 meter. Then reach to D by covered 30 meter. يبقى أنا عندي هنا an object move from A to B أو from A to D مرورا بمين بقى؟ عدى على مين؟ عدى على البي والسي. يبقى an object moves from A to B from B to C then at the end from C to D. What is the actual path or what is the distance covered by the object? Again, what is the actual path or the total distance covered by the object? هنعمل summation لمين؟ 30 plus 60 plus 30 هتطلع معايا 120. يبقى أنا كده معايا الديستنس بتاعتي. ليه؟ لأن دي الأكتوال باث اللي هو المسار الحقيقي اللي هو مشي من A ل B 30 متر، من B ل C 60 متر، من C ل D 30 متر again، يبقى 120 متر. دي كده الأكتوال باث أو الديستنس. But when you find displacement هترجع للديفينيشن بتاعها، هتقول له it is the shortest straight line between start and end point. Again, it is displacement. It is a shortest straight line between start and end point from A to D. From A to D. يبقى دي كده الديسبليسمنت بتاعتي. تمام؟ وزي ما قلنا what is the difference between distance and displacement؟ الديستنس انت قلت 120 متر وسكت، لان انت الديستنس بتاعتك سكيلر فيزيكال كوانتيتي، ودي زي ما اتفقنا مع بعض ماجنتيود اونلي 60 متر. لكن لما نيجي نحسب الديسبليسمنت لازم نجيب الدايركشن بتاعنا from start to end point، يبقى from A to D. تمام كده؟ تعال نشوف مع بعض total distance. انت عايز تعمل find للتوتال ديستنس والتوتال ديسبليسمنت. الديستنس زي ما قلنا هنعمل سميشن لل 30 بلس 60 بلس 30 120 متر وسك كفايه، لان انت كده جبت الماجنتيود اونلي على اساس ان هي سكيلر فيزيكال كوانتيتي. بات ديسبليسمنت لاحظ احنا هنقول 60 متر لان هي هتبقى طول اي دي فروم A to D 60 متر. طب دي هتبقى نورث ولا ساوث ولا ايست ولا ويست؟ ابدأ شوف من الستارت بوينت بتاعتك للاند بوينت. الستارت بوينت بتاعتي A، الاند بوينت بتاعتي هتبقى دي، يبقى from A to D. تمام؟ لو مشينا على الدايركشن بتاعنا هتبقى to east او eastward direction. يبقى انا عندي كده الديسبليسمنت قدرت احسبها. هنقول كده تاني 60 متر لان هي shortest straight line between A and D، يبقى 60 متر in eastward. هنا طبعا مش هنقدر ننسى if the total time to move from A to D. في نفس الاكزامبل زي ما هو جاب لي التوتال تايم بتاعي وقال if the total time to move from A to D equal 60 second find the speed and velocity. تمام؟ عشان تجيب السبيد اللو هنعمل ابلاي للو بتاع السبيد، هنقول speed equal total distance over total time. لما نيجي نحسب الفيلوسيتي هنقول total displacement over total time. تعال نشوف كده مع بعض. السبيد total distance over total time يبقى 120 over 60 second equal 2 meter per second. ده كده السبيد. طب لو عايز الفيلوسيتي هتبقى total displacement over total time. الديسبليسمنت بتاعتي كان equal 60 over time 60 هتبقى 1 meter per second in eastward direction. وخدت بالك ان الفيلوسيتي ليها نفس الدايركشن بتاع الديسبليسمنت. تمام؟ يبقى الفيلوسيتي magnitude and direction دي عشان نعرف الفيلوسيتي. عشان اقدر احدد السبيد I want magnitude only like distance and displacement. Another example to find velocity and speed, or how can differentiate between velocity and speed, displacement and distance if an object move in a circle path. شكل دايرة والجسم هيمشي عليها. Its diameter equal 14 So the radius of circle equals 7 meter. The radius of circle equals 7 meter. If an object covered half of circle مشي نص الدايرة from A to B زي ما ظهر قدامي على الشكل كده from A to B. What is the distance and displacement? What is the speed and velocity if the time taken 10 second. تمام؟ ادي البروبلم بتاعتي، تعال نشوفها. طب انت ممكن دماغك تتشغل وتقول السيركل المفروض ان هي في الماس ملهاش دعوه بالساينس. لا، تعال نشوف مع بعض. انت مشيت الاكشوال باص بتاعتك المفروض ان انت هتبقى ماشي على السيركمفرنس from A to B in curved line as a circumference half of circumference. انا اعرف ان السيركمفرنس equal 2 باي r times half from A to B، يبقى 2 باي r times half equal ده كده هيبقى equal الديستنس بتاعتي. يبقى هنقول كده 2 times 22 over 7 اللي هي الباي over times r اللي هي 7 اللي هو الراديوس بتاعي times الهاف، يبقى هتطلع معايا 44 times half equal 22 متر. يبقى دي كده الديستنس بتاعتي. لو عايز تجيب السبيد، لان السبيد معروف ان هي distance over time، هتقول لي 22 over 10 equal 2.2 متر بير سكند. يبقى انت كده خلصت 2 unknown في البروبلمز بتاعتك. تعال نشوف ال 2 unknown التانيين. الديسبليسمنت احنا متفقين ان هي shortest straight line from start to end point from A to B in straight line. يعني كده انت هتمشي على الدايمتر. الدايمتر equal 2r، يبقى 2 times 7 equal 14 equal 14 متر. يبقى دي كده الديسبليسمنت بتاعتي. طب التايم taken 10 second، so the velocity equal total displacement over total time هتبقى 14 over 10 equal 1.4 متر بير سكند. هتقول لي طب الدايركشن بتاع الديسبليسمنت ما جبناهوش، والدايركشن بتاع الفيلوسيتي لما تبقى الرسمه مش مرسومه قدامك ممكن تقول from start to end point او from A to B، على اساس ان انت بدات من النقطه A وانتهيت عند النقطه B، يبقى انت كده حسبت الديسبليسمنت بتاعتك from start to end point. يبقى ده كده الدايركشن بتاعي، ونفس الدايركشن هيبقى للفيلوسيتي. At the end of our lesson, we will explain some question like this question: classify these physical quantities as a scalar or vector. Mass, weight, force, length, acceleration, speed. Classify these physical quantity as a scalar or vector. We can see that mass is a scalar physical quantity. Why? If this question give reason, mass is a scalar physical quantity because mass can identify by its magnitude only, as we explained in this lesson. But weight, the weight has a direction to the earth, so weight we can classify this physical quantity as a vector physical quantity because it has what? Magnitude and direction. So we can draw a table to classify this physical quantity as a scalar or vector. Mass is a scalar physical quantity, but weight is a vector. Force, we can see length is a scalar physical quantity for the same reason, because the length has magnitude only, but force has magnitude and direction. Speed is a scalar physical quantity, but acceleration is a vector physical quantity. Another question: an object move from point A to point B, then pass to point C as a figure. This problem we can use mathematical relation to answer this question or this problem. As you see, an object moved from A to B covered 30 meters, and then as a perpendicular path from B to C 40 meters. Find the distance or displacement covered by the moving object. So we will answer this question as a mathematical relation. You can see that the object move from A to B 30 meters, then 40 meters. So the distance equal AB plus BC. Distance equal 30 meters plus 40 meters equal 70 meters without any direction, because the distance is a scalar physical quantity. But when you answer the displacement from A to C, you will use Pythagoras theorem. What's meant by Pythagoras theorem? You can find AC from A to C displacement, because the displacement is the shortest straight line from the start to end point. Again, displacement, as we know, it is a shortest straight line from start and end point. From A to C, we can find displacement of an object. So A to C is a line. We can find this length from A to C by Pythagoras theorem, root AB squared plus BC squared as 30 squared plus 40 squared. So AC will be 5 meters northeast as shown. So we can use a mathematical relation as this problem to find any problem. The next problem, if an object moves on a circular path as shown, its radius is 7 centimeters. Find distance and displacement if it covers total circular path. So an object covered total circular path. As this figure, an object move from A to B, then return to A at the end. Again, the object move from A to B, then return back to the start point A. So the distance is a total circumference of this object. Total circumference, as we know, equal 2 pi r, as a distance 2 pi r. 2 times 22/7 times 2, so the distance equal 44 meters without any direction, because the distance is a scalar physical quantity. So the distance is a total circumference. We will study the displacement. If an object start from A, then return back to the start point again, from A to A again. So the start point is the same as the end point. So the start point is the same as the end point. The displacement in this case equal 0. So we can define when does the displacement of an object equal 0. Again, this question is important question. When does the displacement of an object equal 0? When the start point is the end, is the same as the end point of an object. So any object move in a circle, when it return back to the end point, the displacement of this object is 0. When any object return back to the end point and stop in this point, the displacement equal 0. Dear student, I hope to enjoy your time with us. Try to answer the question of this lesson after you study very well. Thank you and goodbye everybody.